I know you haven't been feeling well. I don't know if you want to tell people that, but
I'm an oversharer.
Cool. So I'm going to make you a very complicated salad that I'm not expecting you to eat lots of. It's going to be watercress and spinach with peas, mint, a little bit of basil from my lovely basil plant here, with some sun-dried tomatoes and peach. A nice sweetness to counter the bitterness of the watercress leaves. And it's vegan, which is, and it's not too spicy, because I was thinking about making you curry. I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, I had a horrific 24-hour vomiting situation. It's absolutely debilitating when you get sick.
Yeah.
And all of yesterday, I basically took yesterday to rest in bed.
Yeah.
And any time I laughed, I felt like I had done 10,000 sit-ups because my whole body had just been intent on getting everything out of my system. But I feel so much better today.
I've had the illness, unfortunately, many a time, being a doctor working in paediatrics and stuff. So I feel like I've gained a lot of resilience, but I don't want to tempt fate. So anyway, I'm going to get on with this. But Venetia, I'm so happy that you're here because, like I said, we'll get into what we're going to chat about, which is fashion and the impact of environmental health and how that's inextricably linked to human health. But why don't you tell the audience about what your journey has been and your incredible accounts that I absolutely love following. I'm really a big fan of the dancing, by the way. Honestly, I'm sure you get that a lot, but like honestly, it's so good. I can literally watch you over and over and go, how she did those moves.
You are too kind.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, and thank you in advance for all the dark leafy greens. I'm a big fan of the DLGs.
The DLGs, I remember that on your podcast, the DLGs.
I love a DLG.
Yeah.
So I started my career in television. I went to Warwick University and read English and film, and while I was there, I got kind of heavily involved in the TV and radio societies, had a couple of radio shows, and quickly decided that I wanted to go into the media. When I graduated. So spent all my time at university, in my university holidays, doing as much work experience as I possibly could at any film, TV or radio company that would have me. And those kind of work experience and running jobs led me to placements. And then very fortunately, I ended up with an internship at MTV when I graduated from Warwick. And then I worked my way up.
Where was MTV based back then?
Camden, where it still is.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's part of Viacom, which owns Nickelodeon and Paramount Films. It's huge.
Yeah.
So I worked my way up there, had the most incredible time learning how to edit, learning how to shoot, learning how to interview, and inadvertently learning how to present and conduct interviews.
This is where you get your podcast skills from.
And actually everything I do now is kind of due to this experience. Worked my way up as a producer and then ended up kind of falling into, I always say falling into and then I have to correct myself. I say falling into presenting, but really I think I'd been honing my craft for quite a few years.
Okay.
So I started presenting a daily live show at 4 Music, which is part of Channel 4. Produced and hosted that for about a year. So every day, 2 hours live on the telly, which was an incredible experience. And then from there, I started hosting digital content for Tastemade. They're an online food and lifestyle platform. And kind of at that point figured out that really online is where it's at.
Yeah.
When was this? This would have been 2 years ago.
Okay, wow, okay.
Or two and a half years ago, maybe. And then started a YouTube channel from there where I could kind of talk about being vegan and my lifestyle as a vegan. And then about 6 months after that, launched Talking Tastebuds, my platform. I wanted to create a space where 16-year-old me would feel better about food and health. I had a disordered relationship with food when I was at school, and just didn't know what I should be doing, and I wanted to kind of interview people who knew a lot of things and had good relationships with food and well-being and mental health to kind of put a positive message out there.
How do you feel that you got into that sort of way of thinking, the disordered eating, back then when you were a teenager? Because it's I think we're getting better at recognising it as physicians, but certainly there appears to be a wave of more teenagers having an issue with dieting culture.
So I have suffered with anxiety since I was a little girl, so I think I'm kind of prone to anxiety, and as a way of coping with my anxiety, I can be quite controlling, and I find schedules and kind of routine very comforting. And then I had lived at home until I was 16, and at 16 I started boarding, and I was at an all-girls boarding school, and that's quite a high-pressure environment.
Yeah.
And it was a mixture of things, really. I started partying in London with people who were older than me, prettier than me, thinner than me, and I was also at a kind of very high-powered school with lots of female energy around me, and it was very competitive.
Yeah.
And I think I just wanted to gain control, because suddenly I felt out of whack with my body because I was on the pill. I suddenly put on weight after being very, very slim for my entire life. And I think it was just lots of things that happened. And I always talk about it with my mum, because she was the person who really helped me heal from it and kind of got me on the right route again. And we kind of came to the conclusion that even if I hadn't moved away from home and started boarding, it would have happened at some point.
Yeah.
Whether that was in my early 20s or mid 20s, I think it just would have happened anyway. I think it was kind of unavoidable due to so many factors. Fortunately, it never got so bad that, you know, it was out of control. But I'm just so grateful for it, because it meant that I had to fall back in love with food again.
Yeah.
And in turn, that's kind of led me to do everything that I'm doing now.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's I'm really grateful for it now, but it really pains me when I see people or hear from people who are going through a similar thing or worse, often worse, because I didn't get too deep into it, fortunately.
Yeah.
But I think as a female, you know, when we're inundated with so much kind of nonsense from the media, I think it can be really hard to avoid.
Absolutely. And I think it's really refreshing actually to hear someone look back on their experiences with a positive outlook, because I think, and it takes time for you to get to that point, I think, where you can look back and think, that experience is actually what made me today. This is the reason why I have a YouTube channel, or the reason why I'm able to positively influence so many other people in a similar situation. And even those who are not in similar situations can still sort of gain positive impact from what you're doing.
Thank you.
No worries. I'm just going to quickly go back to this recipe.
Yes.
Or whatever. I've chopped up some peaches. I've added some of the cooked peas here. I've actually cooked these from raw, but you can even use frozen peas, and they're just thaw, and then they're easy, and they've still got that lovely bite to them. A little bit of fresh basil, some fresh mint that's just chopped up with the oily sun-dried tomatoes. I'm a big fan of just getting as much variety and as many different types of plants as possible into people's diets, because this is super key to health. And we could talk about all these different things individually, but really the reality of the situation is that we don't know that much about the complexity of plants, and we like to sort of like single out resveratrol or carotenoids in tomatoes, or, you know, the plant proteins you find in peas and that kind of stuff. But really, it's a lot bigger than that. There's like thousands of different chemicals that we put in here, and they're interacting with our complex body. So variety, colours, plant focus, that's the key.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I quickly tell you about the fun fact I learned about basil this week, which you may or may not know?
Go for it.
I don't know if anyone else is dealing with this problem, but I currently have a fruit fly issue in my kitchen.
I often get that in the studio here, yeah.
So annoying, so many fruit flies, especially when the fruit is so delicious at this time of year.
Absolutely.
And one way to combat this fruit fly situation is to, what I used to do, fill a glass with some apple cider vinegar, put some cling film on top, plastic wrap if you're American, pierce that cling film with a knife, and then said fruit flies will fly into apple cider vinegar and die. Now, obviously, cling film, not planet friendly.
Yeah.
Killing fruit flies in such a way, again, not vegan. So my way to combat this is to just have a basil plant, and it keeps them away from all the fruit.
Really?
Yeah, did I teach you something?
Yeah, absolutely. I had no idea about that.
There you go.
Wow,
It's
okay.
good. It's a good feeling to know that you've taught Rupee something, let me tell you that.
No, that's great. I mean, I learn things every day from patients, from people like yourself. Like, yeah, always in a constant state of learning.
Good, yeah, that's good.
That's amazing. I'm definitely going to look that up. It's kind of like how I use bananas to ripen everything, like whether it be avocados or... Actually, I don't know if people know that. Like, you know, putting bananas in a brown paper bag with your underripe avocados that are super frustrating. And then it speeds up the ripening process.
Love
it's
that.
from ethylene Yeah.
Love that.
Anyway, back to the dish at hand. I'm just going to mix this all together with the spinach leaves and the watercress here. I'm going to add, I'm actually going to add the potatoes that I'm going to serve you just to sort of add some bulk. But if you wanted more sort of plant-based protein in this, you could add cooked chickpeas, you could add broad beans. I'm a really big fan of ful right now. You know ful, the Iraqi dish, or it's a Middle Eastern dish?
How do you spell this?
Ful is F-U-L.
No,
And the full name is ful madam, which is M-E-D-A-M-E-S. And it's basically, it's kind of like a Middle Eastern pesto. You start off with garlic, salt, lemon, and mint, and you bash that together, like really heavy on the lemon juice, so you've got like a bit of a mixture, and then you add cooked broad beans to that in the cooking liquor, so you cook it overnight, it takes about 8 hours, and then you add chickpeas to that, you mix that all together, and then you top it with even more fresh herbs, raw onion like finely diced, and then you serve it with like wholemeal bread or sourdough bread or like flat, yeah, exactly. You just go in with it. It's
the dream.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, so I don't want you to go too heavy on this, so a little taste for you. I'm just going to go in with the potatoes. All I've done with these potatoes, I'm a really big fan of these. I know, they're like roast potatoes, right? Simple new potatoes that I've steamed for about 8-9 minutes, smashed, as in just with the back of a pan or back of a large spoon, olive oil into the oven, salt, pepper, and then it roasts for about 15 minutes at high heat, and then you get this gorgeous sort of crispy potato. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's quite nice.
So yeah.
All right, so that's going to go in here.
So
I'll throw a few in here.
This looks amazing.
Good.
And
I'm
so
glad.
quick as well.
Yeah, super quick. Hey, I mean, I always have. Actually, that's one trick. I always have like steamed potatoes in my fridge. Because when you cool down the potatoes, you form a resistant starch, which is even better for your gut bacteria. And B, mind blown. And B, it just means that you've always got like a good sort of like carbohydrate, something to like boost your meal up to make it a little bit more satisfying and filling.
Lovely.
And then I'm just going to pop this on top here. Oh my gosh,
this looks so good.
Good. All right, move that to one side. This is for you, and you can take one of those forks.
Something that isn't a toast.
Yeah.
Am I eating it now, or am I waiting?
Oh yeah, give it a try.
Okay, I'm gonna try and get a bit of everything. Get some peach, get some DLG.
Yeah.
Get some potato.
Good.
So good.
Good. I'm so glad.
Tastes like summer.
Good. Yeah.
It actually does.
Okay, if you want to listen to the rest of our conversation, we're going to jump onto the podcast and we're just going to have a chat there. Subscribe to the Doctor's Kitchen. Check out Venetia's socials. They're going to be down below in the comment section, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. There's so many others for you to enjoy right here. Check out thedoctorskitchen.com. Sign up to the newsletter where I give science-based recipes every single week. There's a podcast, there's 2 books, there's loads more content on social media, doctors_kitchen, and I hope to see you there.